thirst for justice. There are so many people that say they like Jesus's words, but they don't know if he's God or believe in him or whatever. But they're like, oh, well, I think he's a prophet, or I agree with what he said. And I'm like, have you read the Beatitudes? Do you know what the Beatitudes are? Do you know what his words actually say? And I think that God planted not only he planted eternal life in every human being, like we know that that exists, but I also feel like he planted justice, and I think it's stronger for some than others. And I think that evil people, evil strategies, evil forces, evil whatever spirits use that justice, and it's like, well, we know people want justice, so let's control it and let's plant these things. For example, when I was growing up, like in the 90s, they were saying aerosols are creating a hole in the ozone layer, and that like we're going to all get scorched by the sun if we don't stop like using aerosol hairspray and aerosol deodorant. And now it's like it's just continually been this climate stuff. And I also was told, my dad was a farmer, and when I was like 8 years old, now I'm over 40 now, so this was like early 90s, he said that the tree huggers wanted want to tax cow farts. And it was really funny back then as a little kid. Like anything to do with a fart is hilarious, right? But taxing an animal's fart, like what? And then here we are today, and they're still talking about it, except like more people have heard of this. So that did start a long time ago. But I wanted to talk about the Beatitudes because Matthew 5:6, it says, God blesses those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. I do think God plants justice, as I said, into our hearts, and some are just more like some just have more of that, and I do think even today there's good things that we can get behind. For example, the clothing industry, and I'm not perfect. I don't like perfectly shop, but they talk about how many people are living like slaves that work in the clothing industry. And there's these climate activists, and they're, blocking traffic. And a few years ago, they threw things on paintings, famous paintings, to get attention. And I just feel like that there's evil forces behind that are so misdirecting these kids, and they're really believing that like the earth would Greta Thunberg say like the earth is going to like die in a few years. Like I don't think it's the climate stuff. And they've done all this climate stuff, and then look what's happening in the world and how our resources are being directed to be used. So I think these kids are misdirected with justice, and I do think there's going to be justice served one day. But I would encourage you, if you haven't actually read Jesus's words, because all the movie, I've never really liked Christian movies or depictions of Jesus. I did like Mel Gibson's movie, but I feel like all of the movies and shows I've ever seen, there's like an amiable Jesus. And when I've read the Bible, I'm like, he is talking to his friends, his disciples, like rough sometimes. And the way he talks to the religious people of that day, like how many people dislike or have disliked at one time religious people, and the way Jesus has always talked to them, and like the same people that care so much about the environment, right? Like they have huge hearts and they typically are anti-capitalism. Like, do you guys know Jesus flipped tables? The people that were greedy and trying to, you know, do this little trickster capitalism back in Jesus's day. Well, he flipped the tables that their products were owned and that all their money were owned, and he made their money go everywhere where they had to run around and pick it up. And then he went and got some whips and he started hitting them with it. I mean, he was beating the like greedy capitalist of his day. Do you know that? I just really think I just wish more people, or I wish like I've wanted to go into making like actual biblical movies, because I think about like what happened with Jezebel, like falling out of the window and dying, splat. Like I've never seen realistic Christian movies like I envision them, like that flipping the chariot around in the field, and it, you know, I don't know. Read your Old Testament, read your New Testament, read Jesus's words. But anyway, I feel like Jesus was like this hardcore, like rough, tough. You know, he was like kind to like the sinners and the people that would come to him and be sorrowful. Like there was only one religious person that ever came to him later, and that's when he said the John 3:16. He was actually talking to a religious person. But I think that's the only time that he talked to a religious person and was like kind to them. Otherwise, I think he was like really harsh and they hated him for it, and, you know, helped him in the way that it ended. So if you thirst for justice, if you think you like Jesus' words and haven't actually read them, I really encourage you to read them. And I really encourage you to look up justice in the Bible and see what God says about justice. What are all the ways God talks about when it comes to justice? Thanks for your time. Have a great day. Bye.